Hello, good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Insight Sports Talk with your host, Joanna Rosali. I have today two great guests who will be joining us on the show a little shortly here. PLR from the Sports Cave, and then I also have Cristian Moreno, play-by-play commentator and broadcaster, who will be joining us a little bit later on in the hour. So before we kick it off, I just want to say welcome once again. It is Tuesday. I will be running solo today. Unfortunately, my co-host Ed Cole is unable to be in the show with me and partake, but we do, wish him a really great after evening, and he will be with us on our next show. So I did miss you all, and we're back here bringing you on a show. We took a little bit of a extended break. Had Anyway, we had some eventful of a weekend, you should say. We had college basketball kickoff. We also had week one of the NFL season launch with such, I don't know how to describe it or would be the correct word to say here, but it was just a roller coaster of emotions. So we also have the MLB postseason that it's on. The race is on right now, and not only that, but also for the Cy Young and who would be awarded that award here once the season does conclude. And we also have some soccer as well that did occur over the weekend, and Cristiano Ronaldo making his debut with Manchester United, and that was a beauty to watch. So we will be recapping all of this for you here in the next hour. So we're gonna go ahead, and I want to go ahead and kick it off with NBA. That's been a little bit of most of the recent news. And before our guests join us, I just want to go ahead and touch on that. With the guidelines that have been proposed for the players and vaccinations, I just want to go ahead and read off here something that I have for some of the guidelines per NBA. This was just a few days ago that may be required to sit far away from teammates on flights and on buses on the road. They also may not be allowed to sit next to vaccinated players at meals or in a social distance, excuse me. They will also be undergoing testing on game days and on practice days, and possibly multiple times on game days as well. And they are asking of a mandatory 7-day quarantine if they have been in close contact with someone who has tested positive. But before I go ahead and go on, I want to welcome our first guest, PLR from the Sports Cave. He is the Sports Cave. Hi, PLR. How are you? Thank you for coming on.
I told you I was fired. I'm now relegated as being a guest. Told you I got fired. See, next time I say I got fired, you'll believe me. Fired. Terminated.
You are not fired. And I did not demote you.
Yep, all that stuff. All that stuff. Fired.
No, not at all whatsoever.
Pink slip.
Oh, you're too much. But you came on the perfect time because I kicked off the show and wanting to talk about NBA and how they are not mandating the players to be fully vaccinated. There are some policies that they have put in place. And I just kicked it off with the unvaccinated players and some of those policies and what they're looking at. So what do you think about this? We know that there's mandates out there all across the country. We know the NFL, where they stand with that and asking all of their players being vaccinated. If not, there will be fines, or they will be, faced with some, I don't know what would be the right word to say. But I guess, either to not play or, face the consequences of that decision. So what do you think of the stance with NBA?
I'm going to keep this clean as opposed to saying what I want to say. The NBA, they're not messing around with their assets. And people get mad at me all the time for saying that, but players are assets. If you're a $1 billion team owner, I had this conversation with someone probably about 2 weeks ago, and we were talking. And they said, 98% of the people that get COVID survive, and so that was their whole argument. And I said, true, but if you own a team, do you want, if you're coming up to the playoffs, or you're coming up to a championship, or you're in the middle of the season, do you want your player not playing for 2 weeks because they got COVID? Do you want them to be weak for 2 or 3 months after because they got COVID? So if you're an owner, as much as I want to say the owners care about the players, which I believe they do, they're still protecting their assets. Because if LeBron James or Steph Curry or one of those guys get COVID, you got to think they're not playing. Guess what they're not getting? I'm not paying $15 for a hot dog and $20 for a beer if the guys I want to see play aren't there. So you're now in their pocket. And if you're in their pocket, that makes them an asset. So I can understand why the NBA is being so hard, why they got to fly separate. Now, if I miss one of these or mess it up, last I heard it was you got to fly separate. You can't congregate with. You got to get tested twice a day. There's a whole bunch of stuff built in. And here's what I get. Okay, here's the thing that's really starting to piss me off about this whole vax, anti-vax. Let me get resituated here because I'm about to really get this off my chest and unload. Okay,
let it out.
Here's where I get irritated. Yes, you have rights in this country. You have rights. You have a right not to be vaccinated if you play in the NBA, NFL, MLB, the toss championship, professional bowler, whatever you want to call it. Yes, you have human rights, but you still have consequences to those rights. I can walk into a movie theater and yell fire. Consequences are if people get killed, I'm going to get arrested. I can go up to someone and say, you're getting on my nerves, shut up or I'm going to kill you. Guess what? I can then be arrested because, yeah, I have that freedom of speech. But the people that are so anti-vax are so, and I could care less. Just like the people that said, everybody has to get vaccinated tomorrow. Okay, it's someone's choice whether they do or not. But you can't then say, I have a freedom to do something, but then tell someone else that runs a business, well, but now you got to let me have my freedom. No, I got to be concerned about all these other players. So if you don't want to be vaxxed, that's cool. Don't get vaxxed. But you can't have the same rewards as all these other people have. And that's where I'm starting to really get irritated with some of the non-vax athletes, and that you are right. You don't have to be. But you can't then turn around and get mad at the people that are trying to protect the masses of people in these businesses. And it's kind of the same thing. Look, it's one thing if they knock on your door and they say, hey, look, we're here to give you a vaccine. I don't want a vaccine. Oh, you're taking a vaccine. Oh, but I don't want to. Oh, no, you tie him down. Someone get a rope. He's taking it. They're not doing that. They're saying you have that right, but you have to face these consequences. And so I think that's where this whole thing for me is starting to get kind of screwy. The NBA is saying, look, we don't want to miss games. We don't want someone out 12, 14 days. If you're vaxxed and you get tested, it could be a false positive. You could have it. Symptoms won't be as bad. 2 negatives, you're right back in. You don't, then no, you got to sit. So no, I honestly, I don't give a damn. I don't wish, I hear some of these people say, you didn't get vaxxed, you died, good for you. I think that's asinine at the same time. You know what I mean? But if you can't play, if the NBA saddles you because you don't want to get vaxxed, it's their league. They can do that. Crazy, isn't it? Crazy. You know how, like, if you walk in a Target and they tell you no shoes, no shirt, I bet you don't rip off, take your shoes off and go in. Those are mandates. These idiots are killing me with you can't mandate me. 55 miles per hour. Mandate. Can't smoke in a restaurant. Mandate. Can't smoke on an airplane. Mandate. Can't, all these can'ts. Those are all mandates. Can't buy a machine gun. Mandate. Sorry. That's life. Okay. Get over it.
Yeah. And then right now too, we have, right.
I'm sorry.
Yes. And
we work together.
We have that too.
They put a color code on our credential because we couldn't get near players without that. We didn't say, well, but our rights say that we didn't have to send you our vaccination cards. It's not your right to know. We said, hey, look, here's a copy of the picture. Let's go to work.
Right. Right. And right now we have with a majority of the players, which is at around 85%, who have been vaccinated. So which is real, it's a large percentage. So there's more vaccinated than not. But again, there's going to be those strict policies, and you're not vaccinated, you maybe have a risk of missing games. We have NFL with the New Orleans Saints. Though they are vaccinated, there are players that still tested positive for COVID after last weekend's game. And that's a total of, last I've heard, was I believe 2 players and 6 staff.
Yeah, and the staff's all vaccinated too.
Mm-hmm. So that's something that we know, and you and I had talked about this, and that was going to be, a topic of conversation, and something as the regular season got back to normal for each of these sports, that was something that was going to be facing each of these leagues and these players. So it was only a matter of time of when and how they were going to, or their policies were going to roll out.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Look, people, we're in a pandemic. It's that simple. We're in a pandemic. There are going to be businesses that are going to try to protect themselves and their assets. I don't care about the politics. I don't want to get involved in the politics. I just, when it comes to the politics, I find it funny that the people that support 45 the most are the people screaming anti-vax, when 45 is the one that wants to take credit for discovering the vax. So that's why I don't even want to get involved with that crap, because you'll stand around and have that argument with someone for a week. To me, it just boils down to, if you work for a company, the NBA, the NFL, Circle K, McDonald's, whatever, if you work for a company and they're saying this is something you have to do and you choose not to, you have that right. But then you just got to go get a job somewhere else. It's just that simple.
Right. Exactly. And you do have a choice, but those choices, you're going to come with consequences or rewards. But also, we did see over the weekend others facing consequences and rewards out of these games. And I want to go ahead and chime in with the NCAA football that kicked off. Saturday was just full of college football. And I didn't get to see an entire game in its entirety, unfortunately. But what was going on with all of these teams and these high-scoring games? Can you explain that to me? What the heck was going on? It seems like every time that I had looked at a TV or turned on the TV and put on a game, there was like 55 to like 10.
Well,
that was insane.
I'll tell you someone that didn't. Miami, because they busted up my 3-team parlay. Those suckers only won 25-23. All they had to do was cover 9 points. I'm done with the University of Miami. Forget the U. Every time I hear someone say the U, I'm throwing a dart at them. But anyway, a lot of that has to do with the second week really is you're still playing cream puffs. So there are a lot of teams that didn't play a lot of tough teams. And a lot of conferences like to do this for the second game. And let's be honest, Miami played Appalachian State to win. They didn't play them to lose. You know what I mean? That was they opened up against Alabama. So they're not going to play another tough team before they go into conference play. So that's just one of those things. So I don't know if you notice this, every year Alabama, before they play Auburn, they play like the Citadel or Our Lady of Blind Nuns, and they score like 70 points. And so that's really what everyone is doing. ASU did the same thing, if we're really being honest about it. ASU played UNLV, a team that, I don't think they've lost to in like 8-9 years, but you play them before you play a BYU. So it happens a lot the second week, especially if it's a team the first week opened up against a tough opponent. So they're just trying to get themselves right, give a check to a smaller school, run up the score. Everyone feels good. The boosters feel good. Players feel good. except the losing team.
Right, right, exactly. Like we have Auburn 62-0. Who
But look who they
else?
played. Who did they play?
That true, Alabama State. So do you
Yeah,
really call that a game at the same time?
yeah, and I'll tell you something. You know where you could look before the game is even played? Look at the betting line. If there are no points, that means they pulled it off. So they don't even put games like that. And I know it's sad in this world of looking at betting, but that tells you everything. And that game wasn't even on the betting line because they didn't know if Auburn felt like putting 100 on them. So they pull it off. So that tells you the opponents that they're playing. I didn't even know there was an Alabama State, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That you like UNC, I've watched a little bit of that game and it was like 58-17. We have 76-0 Oklahoma, but then again, who did they play? It was exciting for the little bit football that I did, college football I did watch. Something I hadn't seen like that in a while. Seen so many,
Yeah.
it's just so many teams have such high scores.
And that's why. Basically, that's why. They just beat up on the little guys. Teams that played real teams, scores were a little bit tighter. It was just the cream puff.
Yeah.
It was just the cream puffs. It'll settle
Hmm.
down. Excuse me. It'll settle down, especially when we get into conference play. It'll get back to normal.
All right, sorry about that. Just our next guest is running a little bit behind schedule, which is no problem at all.
So, can
Um,
I ask you something?
yeah.
I don't want to mess up your agenda or anything, but I know I got to get going to practice here soon. But if you have any questions about the Bears or NFL, feel free to shoot it to me because I'm in one of those moods. And if you really want to see me in one of those moods, ask me anything about the Bears. Anything.
Anything about the Bears?
Yeah, anything. Anything.
So, which is exactly where I was going with this is going to the NFL. And I'm gonna hold off on doing the good, the bad, and the ugly until a little bit later in the segment, and once our guest joins us here, but or joins the show. But yes, I was actually thinking about you when I was the little bit of what I did get to see of the Bears game. So go ahead and let it all out.
So let me tell you something. Two things that you got to do when you're a Bears fan. You got to watch the game with a drink in one hand and a cigar in the other. You need one to numb the pain, and you need one to relax yourself. Because you can't just watch a game because you come up with new curse words. And it's hard after you live so many years on Earth to keep coming up with new curse words. But I will go ahead and make some definite statements because they call it overreaction Monday after the games, right? So here's my overreaction. Matt Nagy is the worst coach in the NFL. By far. Not even close. The Chicago Bears played the LA Rams and did not wait, let me turn this around. How many passes do you think they completed for a 20-yard boom plays?
2.
Two. How many times do you think they attempted a pass for a 20-yard boom play?
5.
Okay. It's Allen Robinson. He's not DeAndre Hopkins, but he's a top 10 wide receiver, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't run one route over 13 to 15 yards. They didn't throw the ball downfield 20 yards, not one stinking time. Not once. They had 0 plays for over 20 yards through the air because they didn't throw the ball in the air for 20 yards. So basically, the Rams just allowed their safeties to keep creeping up. In fact, one of the Bears wide receivers said, and I'm going to paraphrase, yeah, we know Jalen Ramsey is really good, but we didn't even test him once, but I'm just a receiver. I don't call plays. Now, you've been doing this sports forever. When a player says, all I do is what they ask me, I don't call the plays. What that basically means is, what the hell are y'all doing up there in that coaching box? The Bears had a 41-yard run by Montgomery. Second play of the game. He touched the ball 4 more times over the next 3 possessions. 4. The Bears defense, the Rams had 9 possessions. They scored 6 times, punted once, and knelt down to end the game and a half the other 2 times. When talking about his defense and his coordinator, Matt Nagy said, "Oh yeah, Sean sounded good in the headset." What the hell does that mean?
What?
Ashley spelled ASHLEIGH sounded good in the headset at Chick-fil-A earlier. What the hell does that mean? You sounded good in the headset. I have a headset. Could I be the defensive coordinator of the Bears? No. See, this is why Bears fans drink. It's real simple. This is why we consume alcohol, because usually the Bears tease us. They come out, they win a couple games. We start typing stuff on Twitter. Woohoo! Look at these Bears. Who you messing with? It's our year. We're going to surprise the people. Matt Nagy has taken that away from us. Like my man said in Superman when he said, "My soul is what you've taken from me." My soul is what Matt Nagy has taken from me. The Bears, I gave them a bunch of victories. I officially apologize. I did this on my show today. I officially apologize to every team I said the Bears would beat, except for Detroit. I apologize to you because the Bears aren't going to beat you. We're going to lose because our coach sucks. If you watched any of that game, tell me one thing that Andy Dalton did that Justin Fields couldn't do. Didn't throw the ball 20 yards. I know Justin Fields could do that. He didn't run 4 touchdowns. I know Justin Fields could do that.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing. Worst coach in the NFL, Matt Nagy. He sucks.
So where do you think that Bears are gonna land at the end of the season?
I give them 3, maybe 4. Like playing spades. How many books you got today? Jay, how many books you got? 3, maybe 4. Got a bad hand? Yeah, 3, maybe 4. I gave them 7 when I first looked at the schedule. But then after seeing that bull crap, look, let me ask you this. Let me turn this around and ask you a question. If Andy Dalton is a starting quarterback and the Bears win 8 games, right? Or Justin Fields is a starting quarterback and they win 6 games. Either way, they don't make the playoffs. So why are you not allowing your young guy to come in and play and lead the team? It would be different if you're saying, hey, with Andy Dalton, this team is good enough to possibly make the playoffs. And Justin Fields isn't quite ready. But we know that's not true. This is not a playoff team anyway. What difference does it make? Play the kid.
True.
He's better than the kid in New York.
Get the knowledge.
Yeah. They're playing the kid in New York with the
Suck already.
He's playing.
Sorry to say it, but it's true.
Yeah, we do. But I know who doesn't suck. But anyway, I will say this. We need to. Didn't they beat the Red Sox 2 out of 3? Isn't that your team? Didn't they just?
Let's not talk about that.
Okay, but yeah, no, the Bears.
That hurt a little. I'm not gonna lie. Still hurts.
Yeah, they faded out of the playoffs too. I thought. I don't want to get sidetracked off the Bears, but
right.
Really been
they're still in the fight.
Yeah. Our magic number is 8 to wrap up the. Anyway, but don't worry about it. You know what? The Bears are going to have a long season. I will tell you who I was impressed with, though. In all honesty, Jameis Winston.
Everyone was impressed.
Yes.
And yes, I am very, very disappointed in Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wait a sec. You like him, don't you?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers. Isn't that your guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why was he up there looking like a vampire?
I don't know. I'm asking the same friggin' question. Did you see that picture on social media where you have Tom Brady on one side, you have Aaron Rodgers on the other, and saying, how does Tom Brady look a lot younger than Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. We look like a vampire. Especially with the ponytail. He looked like a vampire.
And then Aaron Rodgers is younger. He's a year or 2 old, about my age, older than I am. And
so how old are you again? Because I know. You want to tell everybody? Because it was your birthday week.
It was my birthday weekend. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful 35 years young.
Yeah, he's older than you.
Yeah. And Tom Brady, we know how old Tom Brady is, and he does not look in 42?
4? 3? Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah,
And
Tom
I'll tell
Brady's
you
gonna
also was
play
impressive.
forever.
Kyler Murray was very impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Yep.
They were very,
He
very
was.
impressive. And the NFC West right now is undefeated. That's the
Yes.
Rams, the 49ers,
Yep.
our lovely Seahawk rival team, and the Arizona Cardinals to include them in that division there, and as well as the AFC West, which are the Raiders, the Chiefs,
Chargers.
Chargers, and the Broncos.
Yep.
Will any
Yep.
of these two still remain undefeated after week 2, do you think?
Okay, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you this right now. I picked the Chiefs and the Niners to win the Super Bowl.
I have receipts.
Oh no, I got receipts all over the place. Look. Let me tell you something.
I'll be playing this back when come around Super Bowl time.
That alien in Kansas City is down 22-10. And he just walks out there like, come on, y'all ready now? All right, did we make them feel good about themselves? All right, let's just go snatch their heart. That dude is insane. You think I'm going to bet against him? If they had a real offensive line last year, I think they win a Super Bowl. Guess what they got this year? A real offensive line. That dude is sick. You see that Bleacher Report that says, F it, just throw it up. Tyreek is down there somewhere.
No, I did not.
One? It is hilarious. And then they have him and they have him in the interview. He's like, actually, I just saw this kind of funny. Yeah, kind of. You have to do that. I mean, you have to cover Tyreek Hill. There's a play that they ran. I'll say this real quick. There's a play that they ran. He read the coverage. Tyreek read the coverage. Somehow they matched him up on a safety. He just flung it downfield. Dude catches it, runs it in. How do you play against someone who really doesn't give a crap? If they're up 30, down 30, you can't get comfortable. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Insane. But it is what it is.
So, and before you leave, I know you have to head out here, but before you leave us, I want to go ahead and ask you about your thoughts on the Cowboys and that performance against the Buccaneers on Thursday.
I'm it's Tom Brady. I mean,
lost for words.
Yeah, it's just Tom Brady. They played well enough to win, but they left him a minute 23. There's not. I mean, I'll tell you this: people better shut up about Dak. Plain and simple. I don't know what else he can do to tell people to shut the hell up. So I'm impressed with Dak. I'm not the biggest Cowboys fan, but I like players that can shut people up. And you go on a road, play the Super Bowl champs, play them down to the wire, and he didn't lose that game by any stretch of the imagination. So the NFC East is wide open. They're playing with the backup quarterback in Washington. Philadelphia is going to Philadelphia before the season's over. And the Giants, oh my God. Look, the Bears suck because of the coach. The Giants suck because they have no players. So, they're bad. I mean, they're bad. They're bad. See, I'm not saying the Bears are bad. I'm saying our coach is bad. But they're bad. So that's tough. That's tough. But props to Dak. Big props to Dak.
All right. Last question. Give me your good, your bad, and the ugly out of this week 1.
The Bears plane landed safely. There's the good. The bad, Matt Nagy was on it. And the ugly, Matt Nagy called that game.
Okay.
How about that?
I was not expecting that, to be honest. Always throw me a curveball.
There you go. The good, the bad, and the ugly. All I have to do with Matt Nagy.
Oh gosh, you are too much.
Hey, I started with the positive. They all landed safely.
That is a positive. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
That is very, very good.
Yes. And the bad is they let his ass on the plane. and the ugly, they didn't fire his ass when they landed. There you go. With that, with that, I appreciate you having me. I
Thank
appreciate you
you,
having me
PLR, as always.
as a guest. Um,
No.
yeah, a, she was like, say anything, just don't become that disgruntled, angry black employee, and we're good.
Oh gosh, you are too much.
Anyway, no, thanks for having me tonight. Um, kill the show. I know you are, so I don't even have to say that, but kill the show. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at PLR on Sports and the Cave Show every day, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock. Sportskave.com, Caves with a K, the listen live button. So I appreciate it very much.
Appreciate you always. Thank you, my friend, and go kick some butt in that practice.
No, yeah, they're gonna rule that you said that because that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be some butts kicked. We running tonight.
Yep, I can
Yep.
imagine.
Have a good night.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
again. Have a good night.
I'll see you later.
Always great to have our great friend PLR from the Sports Cave. And just in perfect timing, we have Cristian Moreno, play-by-play commentator and broadcaster, joining us here tonight. Hi, Cristian. How are you tonight? Thank you very much for
Well,
joining us or joining me.
I guess I'm late.
Not at all. You are good. Perfect timing. That worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, my apologies. I totally had not noticed that I had a booking that was so close to the matter. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I listen to you practically every single morning. I am a great and major fan of yours.
Oh, thank
And
you.
yes, so I love you and I love the guys. I typically listen more to Unánimo Deportes in Spanish speaking radio. So, but no, I'm really honored for you to accept my invitation and to talk some sports here tonight with me.
Sure, I talk a lot. It's something I do too much.
Of course, if we talk sports, we know we love to talk. Regardless, even if it's not sports, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might also explain why I'm single still. So
Mm.
yeah, it's like
Same
la la
here.
la la
So,
la la la. Never stop talking.
hey, at least we know we can help keep ourselves entertained, right?
That is true, which is always very important. It's
Yeah.
I never forget this scene from The Dark Knight. I think it was Maroni. He's at his club, and this is after supposedly they had killed Commissioner Gordon. And he's with one of those ladies that, let's just say, were not with him because they loved him. And she's there talking, and I don't know where she says, like, hey, why don't we go somewhere where it's kind of silent and stuff? And he's like, do you really think I want to hear you talk?
I do not remember that. I'll have to look for that next time.
I was telling because I was conversing with that with my mom recently that it is fascinating, really, what they delivered, especially with that one out of the three, because the third one was like usually third ones are, right? But yeah, like it's incredible the fact that you don't see a drop of blood. Yet that movie was so terrifying in so many different ways, and art at the same time. But
Yeah.
it's really what it comes down to. How can you actually take your art to a different level and portray it in a way that the message can be delivered? Same thing can be said in so many different ways.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I love about, not only that, but just art and just anything that you can just be creative
yeah, yeah.
and put your creativeness out there.
I love that, and like, by the way,
But
part of what actually kept me delayed also is that, and additional to the fact that it was horrible, the rain. Like the moment,
yeah, you're in Miami, right?
yeah, it sucks. That's one of the parts that suck from this tropical bipolar weather that I must reiterate sucks. So, like I leave the venue and yeah, it's like whatever. It's maybe like 20 something odd miles from my house. And, like when I exit, everything's fine. It's like, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like everything seems so clear. And then I get on a turnpike and it,
Wow.
it was straight true through and through rain, and all the pieces of of great drivers that we have. And I was like,
Yeah.
please, it's
Oh
terrifying.
yeah.
It's how they accelerate and stuff, and I'm like, you do know that life isn't refundable, kind of thing, right? I mean, hell, I had a hole that was actually knocking his horn. I was doing, like 65, which I think is the limit on that path, whatever. And he was knocking his horn and the headlights and everything, and like I was just thinking in anger management. You remember that from
Yes.
Adam Sandler and His Majesty Jack Nicholson? I was like,
Yeah.
oh Lord, please don't let me have this guy in front of me. But yeah, he was knocking, and it's like it's pouring rain, hurricane level kind
Yeah,
of
I can imagine.
and I'm just wondering, I'm like, I mean, what are you trying to arrive to? Is Sofia Vergara waiting for you or something like that? It's like, damn, what is your rush at this time of night? It's
Yeah.
I mean, are you late for work? Do you have a graveyard shift to catch or whatever? And it's like, damn. But
And-
when I do get home, it's like it's all great and good, like TV and this and that, like all the cameras and I thought. But then when I get home, it's like it's back to servant mode because I have to respond to the pets who are really the owners of the home. I just happen to
Right.
serve them here,
Yes. We think we are the owners, but it's actually the other way around. They own
It is
us.
the opposite. And like I'll probably be a horrible daughter, father eventually, because if anything, it only manifests in how much I spoil, especially the female pets. That should serve as a message that I'll eventually be likely very bad as a father to a daughter, more than likely. I do have that soft side, which probably comes from growing up initially the formative years around women strongly.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
just anyone who has a daughter, because I know my family, my brothers, I have 4 brothers, and my father, they all still to this age they spoil me, uncles and everyone, and I
And
think
that's great.
it's just a part of just being a woman. We just get spoiled.
I love like whenever my mom is around, like I would love that it be in the morning, because that way I can like aspire for those pancakes because like I know how to cook, but pancakes I would love to say that I'm like a stud at it. No, I'm like nah. But hers, it's like MVP kind of level. So I don't mind spoiling.
Yeah.
That is something that I'm like, yep, I'm up for it kind of thing. It's
Yeah.
you will not. And about the funny things, thank God I actually jumped to Apple last year and with the iPhone 12, and I made the whole shift, Mac and everything. Because part of what I was thinking is I rescued in October, early October, actually the same day that I had a friend that actually passed from complications and sequels from the virus. And
Sorry to hear.
I was pretty much draped down that day, and nighttime I went out a moment to get something, and in this plaza, I come across this very small cat who was pretty much like jumping around in the parking lot, like from the wheels of an F-150, whatnot. And I'm like, "Hey, little one," and stuff. And
Oh.
I just pretty much passed over, and like I've been at this since I was a kid, So thankfully, she cooperated and went up to me. I put her in the vehicle in the back, and for a moment, she just like jumped and looked by the back mirror, and she was like, "Oh, SH," and then she looks at me, and she looks again, and then she kind of like sat down and just went to sleep. And till this day, I ended up naming her Alexa, and not because of the machine Alexa. It's just that there's this wrestler in WWE, Alexa. She's small, blonde, and very explosive. In many ways, like it made me think of her. I was like, she's small. She has a soft side to her, but she can be explosive, bipolar in a second. And yeah, it's like total domination. And she does sleep either on top of my head, next to my head, hugging me, whatever. But that's like Dominion land, pretty much. It's like that's my father and only my father. Never mind all the other ones.
Like, don't get close.
But yeah, can you imagine if I would still be an Android and I would still have Alexa, like Alexa, So I have to, obviously, because of how well she behaves all the time, her name has
Right?
to be shouted a lot of times. So it's like
Uh,
that thing would be going crazy, and I would be going crazy back at it, and I would probably throw something at it, whatever.
right? Or just like totally unplug it off the wall and just not even put it away and
Yeah,
not deal with it.
I mean, Siri does its few things every now and then that I sometimes I'm like praying. I hope, please do not do something that is because sometimes like
that,
Siri
that does,
picks up things that you go like, okay. It's like the other day, I was normally just conversing some stuff, and it goes like out of nowhere. I'm sorry, but I cannot find anything that matches that. I'm like, what the? It's like I'm not even talking to you. So it's like, yeah,
yeah.
it's
Sometimes it picks up some odd stuff, and
yeah,
I haven't.
yeah,
Luckily, it hasn't happened to me recently. But sometimes it'll just like to, like sometimes the TV, even my Alexa will go off, or
yeah.
my Siri will go off. I'm like, what in the world? Like, no one said anything.
Yeah, that is kind of dangerous, like especially for people that are not behaving well, like myself, who behaves very well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm half
let's
man,
go
half
ahead.
angel.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit of some sports talk here, Christian.
Sure, please
We've
go
had
ahead.
a very exciting first week in the NFL. I
Yeah.
want to go ahead and get what I have a good and a bad and an ugly
Hmm.
here that I like to do with the NFL. And I
Sure.
want to go ahead and get your three, your good, your bad, and the ugly out of this week one.
Hmm. Let's start by the negatives, because why not, right?
Right.
Wow, Aaron Rodgers sucked.
Oh
Yeah.
my
That was probably the ugliest, and I'll go based on the fact that this is a guy coming from an MVP season, and how many times do you remember a game that you flip around to have such a sucky game like he had? And
God.
albeit the whole thing into it is, and I was an A Rod supporter from before he was to the world A Rod, right? I
Mm-hmm.
saw the talent, and personally, I don't give a damn about all these drafts and blah blah blah. Like I like to go out of my personal evaluation, be it for right or for wrong, but I like to evaluate on my own. So the moment I laid eyes on that guy, I was like, damn, this guy's gonna crush it, and he's going to be the best quarterback in the league once he gets the wheels going. And it's kind of safe to say that I was very much right, at least statistically wise, in so many ways. Now, it is very tough to see how, like his cachet has gone sometimes above the championships that he actually, oh, yeah, he only has one. So, any time
Mm-hmm.
around when you see him and all this spoil and all his drama and blah, 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 he's really become a boring follow. And now that I don't know, I guess now he's a hippie or something. I mean, I know he's playing one of the commercials, but he's also kind of portrayed like a hippie, and his playing, well, it's not hip at all to suck so much like he did. So that would
Not
probably be
at
the
all.
ugliest. What a horrible game, it's just a very bad one, and you can say anything. Game one, blah blah, but it sucked. And then,
That,
if we hadn't had it
that was
bad
really
enough,
bad.
Jordan
Yeah.
Love made the game just to make sure that it was a complete suck up of a game. Just horrible
My
to me.
gosh.
What a very
Yeah,
bad game.
and I like you. I am a huge Aaron Rodgers fan and a huge Packers fan since Brett Favre days, since I was,
Yeah,
little. I remember, and then ever since it's just been Packers and then followed Aaron Rodgers. Same thing with right behind with what you just said about him, and then just seeing him come out in this game, and it's like
yeah,
he's just not there. I don't
yeah.
know if it's all with all the melodrama that happened throughout the off season, and it's like he's just checked out. I don't know if that's the case. He has maybe no desire to be there. It's not the Aaron Rodgers we're used to seeing out there, and I don't know that we're going to
Mm.
get him back this season.
Um, I think, and this returns again to the fact that I see him in the category that he loves the fact of everything that playing football brings, but I don't know that I would put him in a category like a Tom Brady, who, aside from everything that it brings to him,
Mhm.
which there's a lot of great traits to it, but he also has an ego that drives him because he really loves to play and he really likes to humiliate people. out there. Truly. I mean, I'm not even going to include the Falcons upcoming this week that he already took shots on, because the Falcons, they do a very
Mhm.
good job of needs to do that for them. It's like probably just them existing is humiliating. But yeah, nevertheless, I don't see that in A-Rod, and I can see him with that poor intent of a division that he plays in, just kind of saying, like, mailing it in with this game and being like, yeah, whatever. I'm still going to win the division. I have a I'm not into this today. And then you have an extra game or whatever. Like, yeah, I can see that being the case. Not putting the extra effort because he really doesn't feel it. Not
Mhm.
necessarily attached to the situation per se, but he's just not that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. And then what about your bad? What do you see as the bad of week 1?
Can you be a jack of all trades, or can you be a jack of multiple failures? That probably would define Lamar
Hmm.
Jackson in Monday Night Football. I was afraid this was going to happen. And in fact, I was talking about it on Friday when we had the output of all the injuries that were piling up since the preseason through and through. And I was like, I'm kind of scared of what's going to happen in this. I mean, you have a Lamar who, although he's very talented, not
Very.
taking anything away, he's
Mhm.
crazy athletic, all this and that. But I tend to be scared with that prototype of like him, Cam, Michael Big, and those mobile quarterbacks that go for the run. It's tough. And he portrayed that to imperfection last night. He wanted to do both the run game and be a quarterback all throughout the game. And that was a monumental mess. He lost his focus. He wanted to do everything him, Bugs Bunny. And that works in the
Yeah.
cartoons. That's true. Just
Yeah.
not in real life.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
it's interesting you put it that way, because I hadn't looked at it in the way that you mentioning it now, and thinking and looking back. And
Mhm.
yeah, I you are right in there, and unfortunately you can't do it, or you have to rely, or trust your players, and that's
Yeah.
something that
I mean, it sucks what
if you don't
happened to them.
do.
You lose your starter, you lose your backup. I mean, first it was a backup, then you lose a starter. That sucks on its own. But he has to learn how to trust his teammates. There's a problem at the
Yeah.
end of the day, like
Yeah.
he lost in the playoffs because he didn't do his job as a quarterback. So it's about time he actually notices that he probably should use all that athleticism he has, but also dedicate more time to being a QB, because, hey, you know what? He has the skills for that too.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how he's gonna come out in week 2, and how he's gonna hopefully be able to turn that around, or use that as a lesson in moving forward in not only week 2 but also in the season. So
Mm. Can I
mhm.
get a bonus ugly and a bonus bad, or a special mention or something like that?
Of course, yes, definitely.
So, special mention ugly, how the 49ers managed to allow 33 points to whatever Jared Goff is at this point, and the Lions. How can he actually do that? It was scary. It was very scary to see that output.
Mm-mm.
Now,
Actually, I missed that game. That's one of the ones that I did not get to see. But the score 41-33 in that
yeah,
conclusion of the game, that's something.
yeah. So, special mention bad. I'm going to have to go close to the heart with this one. My Giants. Daniel Jones. We gave you everything. You wanted weapons. We gave you that. Even wanted Saquon, who already said, I'm not going to blame the injury. I still think that, look, in life, it's very simple. If you are slated for a specific time and you go ahead of it, not everyone is
Mhm.
going to be John Cena. Injuries should be treated as proper, unless you're
Mhm.
superhuman. So, yeah, it was tough to see the Giants and the output that they did. I think and hope that they can be better, but for the time being, special mention bad. Now the good. Huh. The good was Thursday night football, actually. Like the Buccaneers were the Buccaneers. I think that they have aspects they can correct, but at the end of the day, they got the W. Be it however they got it. Was it beautiful? No. Did they still get it? Yeah. Did Tom Brady pass out on Joe Montana and he's now the ultimate cowboy dominator? What you say? He improved to 5-0 against the Cowboys. That feels so good. Yeah. But, in all fairness, Dak Prescott possibly played the best game of his career. And the guy looked mostly good. I have some fears in regards of him really being tested much more in his mobility, which we didn't really get a chance to see enough of because the defense was not up to par of what you would expect from them. So I don't think he got necessarily as tested on that. But essentially, the Cowboys were very improved on defense. Dak, from 2 surgeries, came back nice, so that's good. And the team overall, it looked much better, I must say. Like, I tip my hat. Zeke Elliott, he was pretty much outperformed from an efficiency standpoint by Tony Pollard again. Zeke, I have my doubts with, and the shelf of a running back, it's small.
Yeah.
And I don't know that he has the character in him to really be that guy. I don't know. And a lot of people were crying, oh, he didn't get enough time, blah, blah, blah. Look at what's working. If you have those receivers as connected as Cooper and Lamb were, why are you going to break it and fix it if you don't even have to fix it if it ain't broken?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you with the Cowboys and with Dak Prescott. How he's going to respond once that pressure is brought up upon him, coming back from such a tragic injury that he had.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see more of that from the Buccaneers, but you said their defense and could have been better, but they still have the rest of the season and seeing how he's going to respond to that.
I mean, think about it. In 25 years from now, when Tom Brady is having another opening night, it's let's see how the Bucs
He's a
look by
vampire.
then.
I say he's a
That's
vampire. He
incredible.
really is. He's Benjamin Button.
But oh no, probably the vampire would be better. that Benjamin Button was a tough one. It's tough with him because like I was talking that recently. It's like he looks as good, if not better, than in his 20s. Like damn, it's like this guy, he really has a formula. Or that Brazilian influence really works very good, which I don't doubt.
Yeah, he just keeps getting better and better. And right now, if he keeps playing and keeps getting, better each season as he has.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that he's gonna miss out on another Super Bowl. He can very well go there.
Here's the thing with him. I think a lot of people don't take into consideration the fact that this MCL surgery that he had, it's really the first he's ever had. A lot of people do remember the 2008 season, which he missed. That was the Matt Castle season. First game against the Chiefs, ironically, gets injured. Boom. He recovered by therapy and rest that time around. So he was able to avoid the knife, which is always very important. But something I always tell people, if you are attached and your significant other is Victoria's Secret's model number 1, is making well above $25 million a year, do you really think that he was going to be very stressed that he was going to be home? It's like, oh man, I have to go. And it's like, whoa, okay. It kind of becomes
it's more like a vacation
home
for him. Yeah.
It's like I don't think he's very stressed.
Agree.
It's not too much of a torture. It's like, oh, great. My wife that makes much more money than me, and she's
Mhm.
the number one angel of Victoria's Secrets. It's not so much of a torture,
Right. Right.
and that probably is
Uh,
part of the keys of him staying that young, right?
Probably. Maybe
Yes,
she, has some secrets there that she can maybe share with
probably.
some of us.
I wouldn't doubt her. I will not doubt her.
uh,
Too bad
and
Leo didn't have the eye of sight to put a ring on it.
oh, right. Hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that would have been good to
You know
see.
that
That would.
I saw Inception.
Mm-hmm.
I finally got to see it because when Inception came out in 2010. So I I have a very good niche spot, which is very cheap also, which is great. But yeah, this cinema I go to, literally sometimes I will be the only person in it. It
Really?
has it was a cinema that I want to say like from the 80s, whatever. If you see off the structure, this and that,
Okay.
and like they have like maybe six different showrooms, whatever. But yeah, like sometimes I've been maybe the only person and stuff, and I saw Inception there. Problem was that was in that summer, and much more the summer. My mom had a very bad health year that year, and when I mean bad, I mean it was like very bad.
Mm.
Multiple situations like boom boggled up to the point that it was like, oh, it might be a stretch that she actually makes it kind of thing. So yeah, like one of those many days that of an endless summer. My aunt goes like, "Hey, maybe if you want to go relax, whatever." And I was like, I caught a 10:30 p.m., which was the last showing that day of Inception on a Saturday.
Wow.
But I was so stressed and blown out that, to be honest with you, I think I stayed through because at the moment, what's the name to this woman? Marianne Cotillard, the French actress. I think the
Mm.
moment she did not appear again on screen after the first scene, I probably passed out on sleep right there. Like, whoop. I went to sleep right again. The exhaustion of the mind. It's very tough.
It is, yeah.
So when I woke up, it was the credits pretty much. No, I actually woke up before the credits and then went to sleep again because I was like Leo D was pretty much like waking up on a beach or whatever he was. So I didn't know if he was waking
Mm.
up or I was waking up, and I was like, yeah, that was
You
so
were part of the
confusing.
movie. You were in the movie.
Yeah, yeah. So like I managed to finally watch it and very recently, and I was almost equally as confused. I was like, damn, I feel less confused than the first time, but I'm still very confused. I also noticed Elliot Page was on that too. I saw the recent interview that um, and I really don't know how the calling would be, he or she, whatever. Maybe of preference, but yeah, like those Oprah specials. I believe the last guest was Elliot precisely, and it's one of those things that in this world we need so much more, and listening to all and Oprah being just such a magnificent interviewer and stuff. But yeah, like I don't know if I didn't even remember or acknowledge the fact. No, I was probably yeah, because now remembering, yeah, I was asleep by the time that she would have come in.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, I did see Joseph Gordon Levitt, who I'm enjoying that series. If you have not watched it, of Mr. Corman on Apple TV,
I
do
have
watch it
not.
and watch it. It's interesting and it deals a lot with mental health issues.
Okay.
I would recommend it. I mean, you really have to sit down. The episodes are short, like
Okay.
22 minutes, 23 minutes, whatever, but they feel so long at the same time from the perspective of so many things they dive in. And you really have to put attention to detail. But I do appreciate it because it does treat with mental issues, which is very important of a matter. And and one that I guess people should be more open to converse
No,
on.
I agree. And I like when movies or series and especially now are, actors and personalities, they speak
Yeah,
about it, because before it was something you can really touch on, and
yeah,
now it's being more open about.
and it's
But I think
very
it's not
important that
enough.
we have it. It's very important, and it can be understated. I mean, like the situations in tennis for one, like
Hmm. Yeah.
Djokovic. I don't like that. Like every time this guy goes on a loop, starts breaking the racket and cursing and this and that, and
Yeah, I saw that.
it's like, dude, grow up.
You don't.
And
Yeah.
like just seeing a guy that's many years older than myself doing all that is like, no, I can't compute that. And I feel that's one of those cases that, and I might be wrong, but I can't go the route of, oh, his mental health. It's like, no, in this case, you're just purposely not taking care of a matter that you have to take care of. And it's dangerous because it's
Yeah.
something that if that guy continues that path, God forbid one day it's not a person instead of the racket that he's actually hitting on.
Hmm.
Because then it's going to be like, oh, damn, you should have actually taken care of that when you had the chance. And then
Yeah.
you see Osaka, speaking about elite talent.
Mm-mm.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's like I love coherence in life, and she's falling back in the whole thing of her mental health. Which if that's the case, then good for her to address the issues. I'm just left at a lack of words when I see that you're using that, but only when you're losing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I did notice in most recently, because it was
Yeah,
the Open as well, and
yeah,
he decided to not partake and sit out, and it's I understand, sports. I've played sports when I was younger. We
yeah,
know how sports is. It's grueling and it's mental, and yes, you're taking care of your health, but and your mental health and what you need to do. But it
yeah.
also, like you mentioned, seems like it's something she's falling back on and missing an
Yeah,
entire
which sucks because it's like
tournament.
because the
Hmm.
problem with that is if you really suffer from something, you'll suffer independent to the situation. It's just not going to go away and come back only in a bad time just because. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm trying to believe you. I'm trying very hard, but it's tough. I mean, yeah, can a bad situation trigger something? Yeah, okay. But can it only be triggered then? I mean, no. If you really suffer from something, it can be triggered at any time.
Hmm.
Independent of it being much more likely when a bad time, but also in a good time, it can be triggered. So, like I just wouldn't want things to fall in a line of let's take this and run with it. And because that depreciates the matter of something that's taken so long to be addressed.
Yeah, and then also and it's affecting her career as well. You worked
Yeah.
this hard, you've done all this, you're here, and now you're taking a step back or deciding not to, participate in a tournament, which could have,
Yeah,
yes, I understand, but then when you're trying to get back in there,
yeah,
it
but
makes it so much
it,
more harder as
at
well, and they
at the
don't take her
same time,
seriously.
I mean, look at what she did. Oh, I'm not going to talk to the press.
Yeah.
A few months ago, and whatever
Hmm.
before to the Olympics, whatever. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So, like, it's just tough. It's really tough. And again, like, it's a very delicate matter, but there are situations where it's tough to fully believe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
It is.
the frontiers between immaturity or just running away with it, whatever. It's tough.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And before we go, Christian, I want to go
yeah,
ahead and, as speaking about tough and how tough it is getting here, is the postseason for our MLB teams.
Oof. Yeah.
We have our postseason race. We have the San Francisco Giants, who have been the first team to clinch a spot in the
Yeah.
postseason. So we have also Boston Red Sox and Seattle Mariners. They are actually dueling it out right now for a possible spot in the wild card. There are Seattle Mariners are 2 games behind Boston Red Sox. So how do you see this going? Do you think, we know Boston, they were doing great. They had hit a little bit of a slump and they lost some games and now they're battling their way. But others, we have Seattle that just has come up and right behind them. And it's just, right now we're in a way, and it can go whichever way. How do you see this postseason race coming out?
Well, for one, kudos to myself for yesterday. One of the fantasy recommendations I was given, and I hope that many people took it. Logan Gilbert, what a hell of a game he actually threw to whatever the Red Sox are nowadays. Laughing stock, I guess. But in reality, dismissing after the fact of having my Yankee blood actually come out, listen, I think it's interesting that we are down this road, and at the same time, I'm like, the Seattle Mariners, who would have thought it, that they'd be in this stage right now? Certainly not me. You got the Red Sox, and you got, more importantly, the Blue Jays. Wow, what a storm those kids have really taken. It's like living up to their potential in the very best moment. Hell of a game. Every day it feels like a must-watch ticket. I miss that. Like you got the Giants, who are a wonderful team that's going to be eliminated from the playoffs too, because at the end of the day, when I see a fair amount of these teams, it just reminds me of the same thing, and it places the doubt on when, if MLB does eventually go in that route of a salary cap. These small teams, it's always the resounding story over and over and over.
Yep.
They can make it to the playoffs, but you win with money. The money team is going to be the one.
Yep.
That is going to be the one always to run away with it. You might get deep. You might do like the Rays did. And what a brilliant manager Kevin Cash is. Like,
oh, yeah.
I mean, it's game 7, but, like, let me take attention to the pitch count. Like, you don't want this guy who is going to have all these mumps out right now to rest. You don't want him to be stressed to rest, like, let me take him out and let me avoid from my very low life small market team having a chance to pull it off and miraculously win. So close. But something always happens. When you're a small market team in MLB, I'm sorry, miracles don't happen. Sabermetrics have not provided titles. It's very beautiful to say that the Cubs and the Red Sox and the Dodgers, they're sabermetric teams. It's like, please, don't come with that crap. Truly, do not come with that. Those teams are stacked in money, and you don't have to be Saber to see the talent in Chris Bryant, Mookie Betts, or any of those guys. It's like, no. I'm sorry. Don't come with that. Do they have a couple of, merry-go-rounds in which they'll find this player in this that actually does a decent to maybe good job? Yeah, they'll have some of that. But you only win the titles with money players. That's a reality of it. Or top prospects. And you don't need sabermetrics for that. No.
And we've seen that history throughout baseball. You mentioned it, the Dodgers, the Yankees.
Yeah.
How many
do
they have? How many titles? And that's a big, money bucket right there.
Yeah, money championships. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and hopefully the Yankees go for it.
I am anxious, and I would really love to see in the postseason is the Yankees and Red Sox series. Do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind them being eliminated. I'm like, why not? if they can just not even make it at all, and especially because I'm still kind of like, have a soft spot still for that, you know,
Yeah.
comeback. I still haven't fully gotten over it. Like like in a relationship, it's not you, it's me, kind of thing. I'm
Yeah.
still there. Like
Hard to let go. Yeah.
it is funny, and I would like to think, and obviously, when you're in the business for so long, there are things that like you don't have the same layers. There was this point in life in which a person which I ended up having a very long relationship with, we actually had pending to meet. We're going to go out that night, but I told her, I was like, Yankees Boston play tonight, so when the game finishes, cool. Not before. I cannot tell you enough how many times she actually called me. And this was way back when. This would have been 05. I was a kid. But,
Yeah.
she called me so many times. And I guess I was charmed by an angel that I did not tell her off with a few things. It was like, that's sacrilege. It's like Yankees Boston. And it's like,
Mm,
no, don't call again. So I was surprised with myself that I, like
yeah.
bye kind of thing. And of course, I was still a man of my word. After everything finished, I was like, okay, now I'm going to. And it was we are gonna meet in a birthday for like one of the friends of her cousin who she was very close to. I did not give a damn if I arrived and the party was over. It's like I was gonna finish my game through and through for sure.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter if everything finished. Like the game, then we meet.
Yeah. Hey, I'm the same way when it comes to certain sports and
Yeah,
games. It's like, okay, there's so and so is playing,
yeah,
or like, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers when they faced off.
yeah,
I was like, phone is off. I may be on Twitter, but I will not be responding to anything or anyone. Do
yeah.
not come and knock
Right.
on my door. I will not get up and drink water. I won't
Yeah,
even eat.
yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, I
not that
totally get it.
much.
You
You
have
do
the
need to eat.
situation.
But I feel you. It's and like I have a lot of sarcasm that is innate in me. So
Yeah.
when I see so many calls or messages and whatnot, like I'm not the most adequate person for that because again, I cannot avoid having some sarcasm into that. So it's not unlikely. Like it's like I'm not the best person to be like I called you 5 minutes ago and call me again because like it's very probable that stuff like what are you doing now? It's like you know the same thing I was doing 5 minutes ago when you called or something like yeah, it's
Hey, at least now we have, text message, which is more, but
you
then
know, I guess
you run into that situation as well.
I have my elements of old school, and like probably nowadays I'm much more boring than anything else. I would say probably. So, so much for my candidacy for not being single anymore, right? But yeah, like I can't say I'm a total fan of text message. It's one of the traits I have from the old school. I would say is probably that I still like my calls. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, like it's like can we just have a call like people used to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Because hey, I'm like, what's your age? When like here I am busting out ages and everything. I'm 34 now.
Yeah. I'm 35. Actually, I just had a birthday. We were talking about it earlier on the show before you jumped on.
Happy birthday
So
to you.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's,
35 years young.
so you also lived through the age where people
Yeah.
spoke on the phone. So that's one of the things I didn't lose and haven't lost through the time. It's like sometimes with text messaging and I'm like, yeah, and I can
Yeah.
lose track of it. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that's like first nature to me. Like I still do like old fashioned call.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
same here. I can do the text message, little back and forth, but I'm
yeah,
more, hey, on the phone, having an actual conversation, and
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Like connecting,
there's so much
really having
that, yeah,
communication.
connecting, and so much that's lost in translation too.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
like years back I had, and it shocks me, like especially on my mom's side because I am the oldest cousin on that side. And I remember some of my teenage cousins that were asking me like, "Hey, how is it so easy for you to interact with girls?" And I was like, "You wouldn't guess the secret. It's something called human interaction, socializing, communicating with another human being rather than
Yeah.
punching a phone and whatever." And it's like, why don't you try talking to them rather than anything else? And it's like it's so easy, it's very easy. Just start talking, open your mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Very basic
definitely
elements.
agree. When the pandemic was going on, it was one of the things that killed me was socializing.
Yeah.
It was not going out and meeting people and being
Right.
around people and I'm just one to like to meet and talk, interact, or even if I don't meet anyone, just being out and being. I have a huge family, so that was
Right.
very, very difficult during that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. It's like for me, I was talking to the pet. I was like, yeah, like serving them pretty much, and like, and
Yeah,
here I am. Like, don't worry, I'm here. I'm gonna get things done properly. Just
yeah.
cut me some slack.
I don't have pets, and when I'll go to my family, well, I'll that's when I visit the pets. But other than that, I'll just resorted to talking to my plants.
Oh yeah,
So
like me right now because I'm in the studio itself. But like the moment I open up, it's like open the doors and you'll find anything and everything. And it's like, oh no, yeah. Oh, how are you? It's like it's either the rabbit fighting with one of the cats or dog
yeah,
saving one of the cats or what. Like it's pretty much like a
it's
very
like having
interesting
children
place.
in a way.
Yeah, yeah. With the exception that like they have well, not even exception. It's like just like everyone has a different behavior, and you pretty much have to
Hmm.
to deal with it. One of the many is he's named Jerry, which is pretty funny because it's like from Tom and Jerry, with the exception it's a cat.
Yeah, cute.
These I saved March last year, right around when the pandemic was pretty much kicking off, and like Tom literally looks like Tom from the cartoons. Jerry, he's a black cat, which till this day, one of the things I still wonder because, and I'm not even joking with this, is literally a black cat. There is a species that is called Havana Brown.
Hmm. Never heard of it.
They're black, but they're called Havana Brown. That species.
Huh.
I'm like, that is not. But it's like whatever. But like Jerry, he's pretty much been fighting with weight. Uh, After he got neutered, God Almighty, he really lost his shape. He was very fit and stuff, but he is one that I guess after his neuter, he's been like, oh man, it's like I really lost my very fit shape. But he's
Yeah.
so funny because the one thing with and like there's a lot of people that'll go like, oh, black cats are unlucky, blah blah blah, which is bogus. But
No, yeah.
one
I think
thing
they're
that
lucky. That's what I think.
one of the many traits of black cats is that many of them can believe they're dogs, but they are as lovable as one can be. It's he is so funny because like he's right now he's like a 17-pound cat, but he is so adorable by all means. Like the moment he sees you, he'll start wiggling and pretty much doing everything to get his ways of just being pet
Yeah.
and loved. But Tom, Tom was a bit bigger, but it was so funny because he was protecting Jerry. So I was like,
Oh.
I was like, they're so tied to each other, and he looks so much like Tom. So I was like, yeah, let's. And the connection was because do you remember that Jerry is brown?
Hmm.
So I was like, this species is called Havana Brown. So you know what? He's Jerry.
Yeah. Tom and
That's
Jerry.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah.
Cute,
So
cute,
yeah,
cute.
yeah. Gotta love it. Gotta love
Yeah.
it. Truly. But
Yeah,
above all, it's Alexa is really the demanding one. It's
of course.
it's funny because like the moment I'm gonna go to sleep, it don't matter what she's doing or what part of the house she is. Like, I guess I've evolved with the passing of time, and right now, like I guess I'm at the stage where I will go to sleep in whatever position I am in that moment, and that's about it. For a long time, I used to be, I guess, pretty much face down, arms locked, and boom, done. Nowadays, like, yeah, whatever, I'll just go to sleep. Like, it's the same thing. So it doesn't matter. Like, the moment, while I'm accommodating myself, next thing you know, it's like Alexa's already there. And I was like, it does not matter. Like, it's like she has a sensor that goes off the moment I'm actually going into bed. Whoop. And, it's like, it's funny because she can be handing out the smackdown to others, and then she'll actually when I go in, she'll go like, "Ew," and give you like the sweetest of meows that you'll find. And it's like
Oh,
it's like,
cute.
yeah, you were laying the smackdown to some of them, and now you're a very nice one. Like
Yeah, like
extremely bipolar.
total switch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's she is something. But yeah, like think about it. It's like you got this 6 feet, 215-pound man, and I'll sometimes wake up with a small 7-pound cat on my head or something. That's quite the image. Yeah, and she will not bother to move. It's like, that is my head. It's like,
Yeah, no. Yeah,
yeah,
I had a cat that would do the same, but would either do it with me or with my other family. Would just go either on the shoulder, on the
yeah,
head, somewhere, just in that area, and just would not move and would just stay there all night.
yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, the thing is, in generally, there's a fair amount of them. The ones that sleep in bed with their servants, they really do it because they want to protect you, and because out of love. I,
Hmm.
I think a lot of
Yeah,
people think it's the other way around, that they want to feel protected, but it's actually flips.
yeah,
And for felines, they get a very bad rap when they shouldn't. They are very loyal, super
they
loyal,
are.
and very deeply connected. Like one of the very many examples. When my dad passed, his cat went into such a depression. It was very tough, and
Mm.
it's legit. Like they really feel things. They have a heart, and I
Yeah,
think that's what people should understand, that like animals have hearts, and
they
they
do.
feel. They feel.
Just like we feel, they feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Hmm.
like we're living beings, and we need appreciation, respect, and love as each other. So that's what this world needs. Like for all the marijuana that the hippies did, at least they actually had a great message, even though how high they were. That
Yeah.
message of peace and love, it's a great one.
Definitely is. And something we should have more of
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
that, especially
yeah.
now. Mhm.
We certainly need it. Even if
Mhm.
we disagree, we can peacefully disagree. It's
Yep.
there's no need to be in this and that. No. It's like, yeah, cool. Different points, not hurting anyone, not offending. Like, no, let's just disagree, but let's respect and love each other as such.
Right. Exactly.
Mhm.
Totally agree.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
but before I let you go, I do have to ask, who is your prediction for the World Series matchup? Putting you on the spot. I know we're not even there yet,
Mm.
but I have to ask.
Mm. Well, you got to put in the Dodgers. That seems very clear. I think the landscape for the National League is much more highlighted in that.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you go to the American League, hmm, it's kind of murky. It is murky, but we would have to go out of the teams that are right now in playoff spots. Hmm. because there's a lot of yeah, maybe, no, whatever. I would have to say that it feels a fair assessment with things being as unclear as they are. Probably the White Sox. Oh, I can't believe I have to say this, but yes, probably the White Sox today.
Okay.
Today. Again, in the American League, it feels much more like I feel pushed out of the fact that we still don't know really who's going to end up taking the spots. So that White
Right.
Sox prediction could flip eventually when we have that, lay of the land kind
Yeah,
of
because a
thing.
very, very, very close race. It can go any which way.
Yeah, right,
Game,
right.
2 games. Yep, half a game.
So just going
Hmm.
off what we know that's there, I would have to take them because the Athletics, they play in Oakland. Who cares?
Yeah.
The Rays are a small market team. Also, it's like no one cares about them, and they're not going to win. And I mean, they might get to the World Series again, but they're going to lose, even if they
Right.
do. And the others, that race is just too tight right
Houston.
now to pinpoint at someone for sure. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why the White Sox, and they have a guy that knows a thing or two of baseball also on the White Sox.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
does. He's
I think
definitely
he's been
turned it
around a bit.
around.
Not too much, but he's done a few things in this game,
Yeah.
and
Like,
that weighs a lot in the postseason. A lot.
and he has that experience as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It's I would say from managers, the first time I, if anything, felt like greatness uh, before interviewing a manager probably would have been, and I thought it was going to happen with Torre also, but never as much as I felt this aura with Tony La Russa. I was like,
Hmm.
wow, this guy is something else.
It
It's
just oozes out of him.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It
It's
really,
really,
really
yeah.
does.
I mean, I didn't get nervous. The only sports figure that I've gotten nervous before interviewing the first time was with Derek Jeter.
Mm.
But it's with LaRousse, I was just like shocked for a moment. It was like, damn, this guy is like, wow, Godfather kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
it's like almost talk to Michael Corleone, if anything.
It does
Yeah,
feel like that.
yeah, yeah. He
I
he
do
has
remember
that
when I
vibe.
first
Like, yeah, yeah.
had
It's
that an
Greg
interview with
Popovich
him.
is another
Mhm.
one that's like, oh, damn, like, yes, sir.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you got like hipsters like Steve Kerr. He just feels like the dad next door that you'll feel comfortable to talk any moment until he gets pissed
Yeah.
off. He's kind of like not the guy
Yeah.
around when he's
Don't,
pissed off. He can
don't mess
have an
around with
attitude.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, like, it was joking. It was joking. Yeah,
Right.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Truly. But yeah, that
Um,
would be my loose prediction.
okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a bad prediction. That's probably I see that. It's very viable. I do see the Dodgers probably making another run at the World Series.
They're gonna be
So
there. Man, it's like if they're
yeah,
not there, they should renounce the plane. It's that team
yeah.
is too stacked,
It
way too
it
stacked.
is too much.
Yeah,
And their pitching is
yeah, and
on fire.
I can
It's
only
lit right
imagine
now.
how many people are gonna stress because Danny Duffy is probably not gonna pitch this season. Ooh, yeah, it's like they're missing Duffy, who's gonna end up probably not throwing a ball for them this year, and Trevor Bauer, of course, confirmed a couple of days
Mm,
ago,
yeah, we know that
properly
situation.
not pitching again this year.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
like I can't say enough with thank you, Ryan Braun, for retiring. We will not miss you. We will not miss you. You can go and lie, continue lying and costing jobs to people, being a very, very dishonest person. So thank you for leaving the game finally. The game is a little cleaner, literally, now that you're not there. Thank you for announcing retirement.
Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. It's, these former University of Miami guys,
So
They have quite a track record. He's a very great representative of it. It's like another
yeah,
guy that has a questionable reputation, very questionable.
we've
I didn't
that's
do
been a trend
steroids.
lately.
I didn't. I did not do the steroids.
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
We all know how that story goes.
Yeah. So,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Um, so tell our listeners and our a little bit about what it is that you do, a little bit more familiar, and how they can find your work.
Well, you can actually keep posted in my social media, which you very, very promptly actually placed there. I am around various networks and various sports. I like to keep my things versatile as myself. So be sure to follow me, and you will be up to date. Be it I am doing baseball, the NFL, the NBA, combat sports, heck, anything and everything. It's like I'm always there. I really enjoy this in the utmost close to my heart kind of way that you can actually do it. As much cliche as that might sound, but like I'm just a very honest man. It's like I'm as honest as a politician.
Yes, you are very honest and no filter whatsoever. I can say that.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And
So
by the way, like I even feel self misery for myself. I'll edit that myself. Like no, 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 not as honest as a politician. Like that would be a low bar. Truly.
yes, you're a jack of all trades,
Yeah.
definitely. You just as you
Yeah.
just mentioned. But and then I will also have to extend an invitation to you here for my
Really?
Spanish podcast that I do have. It's Punto
That's nice.
Deportivo, hablar un
Yeah.
poquito de deportes en español,
Muy bien.
and we'll have to do that here hopefully
Yeah.
soon as well.
Yeah, yeah. You just let me know, and I'll be happy to squeeze it into my agenda. Maybe for next time I can, have some of the pets here and whatnot, and
Yeah,
get them
make it a
going,
party.
and and make a disaster. Them jumping around and breaking something, probably. Which like I don't know.
Hey, it's
That
replaceable, right?
true. As long as they don't break me, that's fine.
Yes.
Everything else should be fine. I
There
know
we
they would
go.
not mind breaking some stuff here. It's like, then again, that would not speak very good of me as an educator, but nevertheless,
Yeah. Hey, we have to sometimes let them do their own little thing too, and sometimes that
truly, yeah, yeah,
involves breaking a thing or two.
yeah, or 3 or 4.
Or that. Yep.
It's also an option.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Christian. Appreciate you joining me. It was a delight and so much fun talking with you.
Well, thank you for enduring me. I talk a lot.
Yeah, no, not at all. I love talking. We said we love talking.
Yeah, yeah.
We might go off on tangents, but we always come back.
That well,
Yeah.
you're very good at it, so it's very pleasant.
Thank
And
you.
by the way, love the ponytail.
Thank
It looks
you.
great on you.
Like side ponytail. Thank
Yeah,
you. Appreciate it.
it's very nice. Like, what is the longest you have left your hair?
Mine actually just recently cut my hair, but it was down below by my rear, just below my back,
Wow,
my lower back.
wow, that takes a lot of commitment. So kudos to you.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
the pandemic, I have to blame the pandemic for it and decided, okay, now it's time. It was getting heavy. It gets really heavy. And
yeah.
it's
Hence
long
why
and
I said
thick.
a lot of commitment. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's thick too. So I was like,
yeah.
okay, it's summer and it's hot and I've had enough of it. It's time to cut some of it off.
Not a bad idea. Believe me, I thought about it in the summer, especially multiple times, and then I was like, oh, okay, I'll survive.
Yeah.
Like I mean, mine's is not as long as yours right now. Mine's I think mine's goes like almost half my back, whatever. Not right now, but yeah, it is something.
Yeah.
It
But
takes a lot of
you have
commitment.
a humid climate over there in Miami.
Yeah, yeah. That's why multiple times I was like, oh, I gotta take this off, and then I was like, and then
Yeah.
I look myself in the mirror. I'm like, damn, but you look good, man. Self
Hey, you
praise
have to
and
look
done.
good, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
a little self praise, and that's all that the ego needs
yeah,
to
look and
endure
feel good.
even
That's all that
humidity.
matters.
True, true. Yeah,
Yes,
you gotta
definitely.
satisfy that. All right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it truly.
Thank you. So I know I've kept you on longer, and appreciate you staying on and conversing, and
Sure.
um, yeah, making up some time here.
You see, I'm kind of entertaining at this thing,
You are, which is why I love listening
Yeah,
to you
yeah,
and
yeah,
to the guys as well, and
yeah.
you guys are fun to listen to. I'll be working and catching up on some stuff, and I'll just put on
Right.
my AirPod, and I'm like, all right, let's see what's, and it gets me thinking, and so much, that just to be able to listen to you guys.
Well, if we're getting you thinking, that's already a plus. It's something the world needs more of.
Yeah, because you'll have concepts and topics and different ways of thinking that you guys have. It's like, oh, I never thought about it that way. Or
Yeah,
okay, I'm like, well,
yeah,
what about this? And yeah, I love
yeah,
listening to sports radio and
yeah.
radio.
And
Just
especially that I go off in so many different directions very quickly. You never know. You just never know.
hey, that's what we do, right? Being in media, being in the radio, we and being
Yeah,
talkers, we love to
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Truly,
Hmm.
I agree.
Definitely. So hopefully I didn't keep you past your bedtime and too much away from your little ones.
Like I said, I probably am kind of boring at this point. Like my bedtime regularly is around this time or so. It all
Okay.
depends on like whatever my agenda is for the day or whatever. And if there's anything to pop a watch for, it takes a lot. The content has to be good, like for me to be watching something at this time. Like I'll
Yeah.
sometimes binge watch stuff and whatever. Like I'm entertained by American Horror Story. That very last season, it's been kind of interesting. In the last few seasons, except the one prior to this one that sucked. And then I also have a very huge crush on Billy Lord. I guess that Carrie Fisher crush actually carried over into the daughter as well. She looks so much like her mother, though. It's
I don't
like
think I'm too familiar with her.
um, you should take a look at her. She's been pretty much taking a scale, slowly but surely, but she has a good
Okay.
drama into her. So yeah, like really like the work in it.
All right. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because the best thing about that, because like I dropped off on the horror very long ago, but I do like my good story going on that has a why that actually makes sense. That's why
Okay.
don't like taking movies and stuff like that. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I have very few things that I do watch, and they have to draw me and have a
It
story
has to
and
have a
something to
why,
draw me.
Yeah,
It has to
right,
be
right.
stimulating for me to watch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your
Hmm.
brain, like needs to be exercised all the time. A lot of people
Yes.
should do that, by the way. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's I feel you. I feel the same way.
Yeah, if it's something that I'm like, but just something that does not grab my attention, or attention grabber, and it's just something you know,
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, no, I will fall asleep, or
Mm.
I will just be bored, and I'll just end up being on my phone or on my computer and doing, work or who knows what. Or
Yeah. Oh,
so,
I'm actually going to be conservative of not saying the show, and like that's just me being very considerate, actually. But last year, I, I was scared for a moment because I thought I'd suffer a broken neck because I went to sleep. This show was so horrible, and for a moment I was like, "Oh my god, I broke my neck." This thing
ouch.
was so horrible that I almost snapped my neck in the process. Like, ouch, ah, and it
Wow.
hurt for a couple of days. I was like, well, I didn't break it because I would be in a very bad condition right now. But I got the closest to how bad you can injure your neck without it being necessary of treatment in the hospital. That
Yeah.
show was so bad, like I felt inside of me, I was like, I hope all the people involved in this feel ashamed with themselves and they, pretty much excuse themselves on life that they actually had it in them to put something so bad out there. And,
Yeah.
like my neck would have appreciated that they actually would have had quality into it. I tell
Yeah.
you, I was very close to signing with the Dodgers, but it was much more because of the Angels kind of thing. You know, it's like
Yeah.
like that. Oh, whoa! And it's like very bad show, very bad, horrible.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
almost
not
spilling the name of the show,
something
but
you want.
I'm going to be reserved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
gonna have to fill me in later offline on which one that would be,
yeah,
so I can avoid
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Won't want that.
Definitely, we don't want accidents.
No, because I've actually had that happen before, where I slept wrong or something, and it just like
Right.
was one of those that you just like this, and you just can't turn, or even to turn or move your neck, it hurts, and you just want to cry. That was me before.
I feel you. I
Yeah.
feel you.
So I don't want to
Could have been
experience that
worse.
again.
Yeah, I don't think it's a fun thing to experience. So
I couldn't even drive either. So, yeah.
yeah. Well, fortunately for me, it was during the pandemic, so I didn't have so much issue with the driving part. But
See, there you go. There was a plus.
yeah. But that still doesn't remove the fact that I would have preferred not happening.
Yeah,
That would have been fun.
definitely would have been better off not.
Yeah, it's like no.
Yep.
Totally.
Oh, okay. All right, Cristian. Well, I will go ahead and let you go.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and I'll be in touch, and we can go ahead and set some time
Yeah.
where we can go ahead and do Punto Deportivo en español.
Fantastic. Let's do that. I will head off to sleep now because
Yes.
literally it is nighttime here. It's
It
almost
is
it is
3 hour
almost
difference.
midnight. Yes,
It
almost
is.
midnight. So, like I told you, now I will walk outside of here. I will make my way to my room, and somehow, even if she is not in plain sight, by the time my head is on the pillow, it's like
She'll be
there's
right there.
Alexa. Like,
uh,
yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be one of those things that eventually, when I do marry up, it's probably gonna have to be something negotiated because I don't know that she's gonna want to
yeah.
move. It's like no. It's like you want to sleep here too, then I'm still gonna be right here next to him, kind of thing. It's probably gonna be
Yeah.
something like that.
There'll be major
Probably.
negotiating on that one.
It's like
Yeah.
that's my dad, and I'm gonna be next to him, so you deal with that kind of thing.
Right. So hopefully that person does like pets, and more importantly cats.
Yeah, it has to be kind of those things.
Yes, indeed. All right. I'll let you get your rest so you can rest up for your show tomorrow, and have a good night. Thank you
Thank you for
again.
the invite. Very good night to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.